Welcome back. This is another tutorial on the HelpMe mod menu, in particular the air ground support menu. This is probably one of the more advanced functions in the mod itself, and there it is right there. And we'll select it, and you'll see you got airstrikes, Blue 4, CSAT, and independent support. Now, so that you can understand, all three of these, the Blue 4, CSAT, and import, pretty much run the same scripts. For example, if I say Blue 4 spawn 3 Blue 4 tanks, it does it, then spawn 3 CSAT tanks. It's the same thing too, it's the same script except I change the sides. That's pretty much the only difference. So I won't go through every single option for these because it's all pretty much the same. Now the initialized airstrikes, I will let you discover that one on your own. This is an old script I got years ago. And it's actually pretty cool, and I had this before I had mine. Mine has pretty much replaced this, but I still left it in there because I guess some people may like it. Basically what it emulates, in a sense, is like a B-2 bomber flying way in the sky that you never see. And you take a lasing device, where it'd be like your lasing designator binoculars, which is what I've always used, and you laser a target, but you call an airstrike, then it tells you, oh, we'll be here in a minute, and then he flies overhead, and then you go through a series of steps, which will either be in the action menu or in your radio function menu. In this case, under the 0. That's where the commands will show up, and it will do it. The guy who wrote the script, it targeted anything, no matter where you pointed at. If it was a target, you know, if it had an Arma class name to it, you could laser it and have it attack it with either a bomb or a guided missile. And it would follow targets too. So if I used a missile and I wanted to track this vehicle here, I would lock onto it, track the target, and the plane would track it with their laser at that point in time. Then the missile would be guided to it automatically. It's actually, and you could do multiple targets too at the same time. That was really cool. He did his latest version, and instead of, for example, instead of targeting 10 things, he now only targets 7 types of class names, which was kind of disappointing. It still works, but since it takes a little bit of time, I'll let y'all discover how to do that. But it's still a nice little feature, and it still does work for the most part. But we'll move on. We'll start with Blue 4 support. When you select that, you see you got a lot of things in here. First one, remove all spawned items, air, ground, platoons, troops, and artillery. This is the same thing under the other two menus, except instead of Blue 4 is CSAT. Now this is part of another sub menu, which I think is actually under this one in the HelpMe mod menu. But anyway, when you spawn something such as these troops, it keeps track of them so you can get rid of them at any given time. Because one of the downside is, and this is true with any game, Skyrim, Fortnite, whatever, Arma, the more things you dump on a map, the slower the game becomes, because the computer's got to keep track of all these things. And this is one reason later versions of Arma, they had the unit caching, and you saw years ago people had unit caching scripts that if you were beyond 3,000 range, for example 3,000 meters, it would make them disappear. They were still in the system, but they weren't being displayed on the map, and this helps with performance. But it's true with no matter basically what GTA, Skyrim, the more things you dump on the map, the slower it gets. So the way I decided to do this, and also if you get tired of it, why not get rid of it? So that's what this is right here. It will show and remove all spawned items that you have spawned in. Now you can get rid of them by 3 different ways. One is to get rid of everything, and poof, they're gone. The other thing is to, so for example, if you spawn in 5 different things, whether it be a boat, man, whatever, it'll just get rid of them all. The other one is to do it individually, but you got individually 2 different ways. You can explode them. If I spawn in this vehicle here and I said explode, it will explode. You know, you get smoke and all that good stuff out here, or you can just delete it, and it will take them out of the thing. It maintains an array of items that you spawned in and so forth, and so it's actually pretty nice, and it helps you keep track of stuff, allow you to bring units in and out without overburdening your system and killing it. So anytime anything in this menu here is all added to it. So if we say, for example, now here's the thing too, when I did this, I don't remember the numbers, and it doesn't really matter at this point. I had, let's say, 10 Blue 4 units, land units, and then I had only 3 CSAT units. I said, well, that's a little unfair. You know, it's kind of unbalanced and doesn't give many options to select from. So what I did was I went back and I just changed all. everybody has the same weapons, same vehicles. So for example, the Blue 4 has an M1 Abrams, so does CSAT, so does the Independent. And you may think that's not really right, but it is. To my knowledge, it started with World War II. It may have been World War One. I don't know, but I definitely know it did start with World War II. For example, the Americans would, the Americans would catch, say, a King Tiger tank that was damaged and abandoned. They would take it, fix it up, then use it in the field. The Germans did the same thing too. So that's not too unbecoming, unrealistic for that to happen. So that's what they did. So I did the same thing. So all these are submenus, as you see. So you got number of aircraft there and air taxis, which I can call a helicopter, pick me up and take me wherever. I got a ground support, which is a single vehicle, 2 units. So if I say I want 1 BMP, it'll show up. If I want 2 BMPs, it'll show up. Or if I want 4 BMPs, now these will operate as a group. Then we got a mixed ground support company, which has 33 units. I'm trying to go off my head. Basically, what it is, I think it's 2 tanks, 2 tank killers, 2 wherever these things are, the marshals, 2 of them, and some men. I think that's what it is, something like that. Then you got a motorized company, which is the MRAPs. Now you got 4 of them with I think like an AT tank, AA tank group. And then what I did, I included, because they're not part of them. These come from the Arma config files, these group compositions, which you can find in the editor. Well, what I did was I went in and added, for example, the motorized especially, I added 2 50 caliber machine gun MRAPs and 2 grenade launcher MRAPs to give it a little more oomph and power behind it. And of course, the Armor company is, this is what it says, 16 tanks. And then other troops you can bring in, which we'll get to. You can bring in just basically a squad of men, same thing with paratroops. Or you can bring in infantry country, which contains 40 men. And artillery is pretty cool too. So we'll start real quickly with the air support. We'll come in and say I can call it. Now, do you see the M2? I don't know what it is, so which one's which? M1, okay, M1 is RHS. This is an RHS helicopter. M2 is CUP. So if I don't have those and I select it, nothing's going to happen. It just won't spawn in. It'll go through all the motions. It goes through picking where you want to start and stop and so forth, and then that's that. Now the general rule of thumb with all these spawn units, you'll select options, says call A10, and it'll ask you where do you want it to start and where do you want it to attack at. And what it will do, in the case of planes, it'll fly to that destination, perform a search and destroy waypoint feature, and it'll hang out there for roughly 5 minutes. Then it goes back to where it came from, where it started automatically on its own, and then despawn. There are some circumstances, so if it come back here and there was an enemy in the building, he will keep flying there forever until it's cleared, then he leaves. Now I didn't make these things to be perfect, so because how much did you pay for this? So I mean, don't expect a paid product if you didn't pay anything for it, because one thing it will not do, if the vehicle runs out of ammo, it will still continue flying the area. And that's kind of stupid, you may think, but what it does, it also provides a reconnaissance area, so it will show the troops on the ground. So it kind of works out in the end in a way. But they will not disappear. If they get shot down, it is another matter. So for the fun of it, what we'll do, say you see right here, I put all the jets in here, then I put all the unarmed aircraft in here. So this is how to lay that. Then armed small things. These are the Hueys, you can see there. And then the armed helicopters, the Russian and so forth. And then down at the bottom, you got your taxi services, Yellow Cab, which is just the little bird. And then the Greyhound is the, oh fudge, I can't remember the name of it, the Merlot, I forget, this is a big carrier that can carry like 20 guys in it or something like that. That's our Arma default. And then you can reset, stop, or delete current taxi. So if you select a taxi, something goes wrong, whatever the case may be, you can say restop and it'll get rid of everything, and this is what says reset. Now with the taxi services, whether it be air or land, you can only have one active at a time. Now I can have one Blue 4, one CSAT, and one independent, but I cannot have 2 BlueSat or blue, excuse me, 2 blue 4 or 5 CSAT, that won't work. What would happen is it'll just delete the other one and start the other one. So just one of each. So we'll say, for example, we'll call it a little bird. We'll select it, and you see the map opens up. It says click to start a location. So we'll just come over here and click right there, and you see little bird air support start, and then it says click attack location. So we'll come over here. There's no attack, and we'll click there. And you see the top right, air support, little bird alpha, Bravo Alpha 2-4 is on route. And here, now if we go back to what we started, show, remove all user spawn files, and we select that, you see we got 2 units because the air, when you spawn the air asset, it spawns in 2 units. I guess you might, I don't know what it's called, but you got the main, the flight leader, then you have the wingman. If you notice at the bottom too, it says unit has been added for a total of how many units. It says that. They are en route. We don't hear them yet, but they are en route. And I can barely hear them. I don't know about you, but we should, there they are, way up there. Get right there, they go. And they're going to buzz around up there for a while. Nothing's going to go on, but you can see it says units. And if I say show user spawn units, it shows them right there. There they are right there. There's a class name, what category it belongs to, and what it actually, the plain text name, I guess you might say, spawn 1 and spawn 2. So they'll buzz around up there for a for about 5 minutes or so. I don't know where they're at. There they are. Now I'm going to speed this up here. You can see them buzzing around. Like I said, they're doing a, and see now you can see the thing, they're sporting. They found, they've been up here for roughly 5 minutes. I sped it up. They found no enemy, so they're departing the area of operation. They're going back to where they came from. And you see them heading on out. Now for some reason, and I do not understand why, they get back to their starting point and they do not despawn. I don't know why. Everything else does. The men, the vehicles, but not the aircraft. About probably say 2/3 of the time they do, but 1/3 of the time they just don't despawn. I don't know why. I think the radius, the activation radius may be too small to tell it to despawn. I don't know. But it's no big deal because if they don't, you can always delete them manually. So there's no harm in that. So let's so we'll come back to Blue File Support, and we'll select a taxi time because this is a little bit different. But let's do this. Let's remove everything just to show what it looks like. Delete all units, and see there they are. I can delete or explode. See it says destroyed. We're going to delete all, and you see the smoke over there going down in flames. So they're all gone. And so let's go back to air support. Now we're going to say a taxi. So I'll come down here to the very bottom. Call a yellow cab. Now for y'all, for those of you who are not from America, a yellow cab is what we call a standard taxi. It's an old name. I think it's been around since the 30s or 40s. But that's what we call a taxi. Is better known as a yellow cab because they were originally yellow and with a black trim, I guess you might say. Greyhound was the name of a bus service that still exists to today. They were in competition with Trailways, who got bought out by Greyhound in the end. So we'll call it a yellow cab, and it's going to say click to start in location. Now there are some scripts out there that let you modify the path while you're going and coming and so forth. Mine doesn't. You just pick where the helicopter starts, where to pick you up, and where to drop you off, and that's that. So we'll start off the helicopter right there. See Blue Force start, and we're going to have him pick us up. Let's say right there, and he's going to fly us to here. Now you see at the upper right, Blue Heli Transport is en route. I think all these helicopters start at an altitude of 500 meters in the initial beginning, then adjust accordingly as they do their thing. So we speed this up. There he is right up there. By the way here, make sure I'm not in his path. sit here forever until we tell it to go on. Now, what's nice about what I've done this is, you don't actually have to be on it. I can send him on his way right now if I wanted to. You see the thing says dust off, so basically I could put my men on there and tell him to take off. And he'll fly off with the men. And what happens is, once you get there, it automatically kicks you off. So this is really a good little thing. So we'll get in and we'll just ride on the bench. I'm on the bench now. I'm going to tell him to dust off. And away we go. I'm going to speed this up too so we get there. And you see he's picking up and taking straight over to where we need to go. There's my landing pad that I want to go to. Now watch what happens when we get landed. Eject it, and there goes the helicopter, and he will go back to the starting position. Now I'll turn off the air plugs. Now a lot of the helicopter scopes transport, you know, you have to get on first, then call your men, or let your men get on first, then you get on, because if you don't do it backwards, it just gets all funky on you. This one does not matter. You can get on first, your men can get on first, y'all can get on all at the same time. The only difference is when you select dust off, that's when it'll take off. So whoever's in the helicopter, when you select dust off, it's going. And like I said, you can put your men in there, have them come here, they will land here, and they will disembark here automatically while you're still sitting back at the airport or wherever you were at. So I'm going to activate my teleport just to get back, make things a little bit easier. Now you see the things are on here, pick up and so forth. He hasn't quite made it back yet, so what we're going to do, I said we can reset these, so we're going to go under there. And reset. And it tells you blue taxi service has been deleted, and you see all the markers are gone too. So that's what the airport looks like, the air support I should say. These are no different. We'll just call them, say, 100. We'll have you start there and come here. That's it. And you can hear him. There he is right there. And you see that upper right, it says that, you know, there's been some spawned in. And like I say, he's performing a search and destroy waypoint. He shouldn't be here too long because there is nothing. Now they screwed up and they drove it into the water. That's the Arma thing there. So since they drove in the water, we'll make it simple. We'll go in and we'll remove them. So we see we got one unit out here, so we'll delete and we'll say delete all. So we'll come back. And the platoon, so forth, the same thing. The armor. Now the troops are kind of interesting. Call 2 men, 3, 5, 7, and 10. So we'll call in 5 as an example. It's no different. We'll have them start here and come here. And they're coming in. Get over here. Speed this up. See, there they are. Now it picks them out of a random number. Like I have I have just a rifleman, grenade launcher, AT, sniper, maybe I think a couple other classes, and Arma will pick random units from the selection. Such there's looks like an anti-tank. There may be a anti-aircraft, and it picks them up on its own. See, you can see they're departing. They came here, they found them, so now they're leaving. And you watch them, they'll get over here, and poof, they are gone. The paratroops are pretty much the same thing. It's no different with them. The only difference is, for some reason, they act kind of funky. They don't hit the ground and running like these guys did. They do kind of weird. I don't know why. Everything's set as it should, but they don't do it, and I don't know. So we'll have them starting here and come to here. And you can see they are right there. And we are sped up. I think they start at 500 feet out too. I think that's what they start out at. Now you can see how these guys are not moving, and they throw down the smoke too. Which I don't know why, because I didn't tell them to do it in the script. For some reason they think they're attacking. Now I've gone in the script and told them not to do this. They're doing it anyway. Arma, as with any software, is not bug free. They will make their eventual way down to where we told them to go. It takes a while, as if they're under a combat mode, what seems to be. Where they're not set that way, but that appears to be what's going on. So they take a while to get down here. They do come down here, and they will do their thing and go back and be gone, but it takes a while. So if it was me, I would just use the ground troops, and it works. Delete them all, and there we go. They're all gone. So we'll come back to air support, go back to blue support. One of the best ones is this here, 40 men, and boy, it is a mess of them too. So we'll select that for the fun of it. We'll put them there, and we'll put them right here. And this will spawn in 40 units.
Soldiers, 200 meters right.
There.
Infantry, 200 meters right.
It spawns them randomly within a
200 meters right.
A 300-meter radius from the waypoint, and then it joins them all together as one big group. And this helps to keep them, like I said, spawning in buildings or rocks, whatever. Tries to make it a little bit safer for them to spawn in than just in one big clump. And you see there's a bunch of them right there all over the place. Going everywhere. And this is 40 men, so so you can see that. So we'll go back in and we'll say delete these guys. Bye bye, and they're all gone. Now, one of the fun things is the mortar. Now, in case you're curious, the three sides have their own individual scripts except for the mortar. A mortar is an explosion, and it's going to kill you no matter whose side it comes from. For example, if I dropped a blue 4 artillery round on me, it's going to kill me just as well as it was a CSAT round or a resistance round. The explosion knows no sides. So there's only one script, and it's on the blue 4 for the artillery. So it makes no difference on that. But on artillery, you got three options. You got mortar, smoke, and flares. Now, all three of these can be activated or active at the same time, but I can only have one mortar battery firing, I can only have one smoke battery firing, and only one flare support firing. That's it. So if we do flare, you'll see I have I got all the colors there. You basically got a choice of 30 or 75. And what happens is I try to slow these things down as much as possible to make them work, to last as long as I could, but they come down regardless. And when you select 30 flares, It's actually selecting 90, I think. It's 3 times the number, or it's 10 and it's actually putting out 30. I don't remember. It's one of the two. But that's what it does. And let me do this so we can see it a little bit better. We'll go to the time menu. We'll set the time to dark, and we'll go back to the flares. Yep. So if we say flare support and we say green flares, just going to ask where to go, we'll just bring them over us. And there we go. Now, in case you are curious, you see my man going up and down. My map zoom is the same key as my position key for my man. It's my mouse wheel, so it's serving a dual purpose. So that's not the mod doing it, it's my key binds how I have them set. And there you see the flares coming down. Now, if you notice on the bottom right, it says 10 flares mission received. It's waiting, 10 flares out. And you notice in the upper right, flare fire is 25 completed, 22 rounds to go. And it'll keep does that every 4 times. They'll put that up there. So if you have 100 flares or artillery rounds firing, you'll get a notice at 75, 50, and 25. Just to let you know what's going on. Now, I can abort out at any time on this if I like. So what I'll do is come back in to flare support, click it, flare abort. And I click that, it'll tell me that the flares have been aborted. Bottom left, it's been aborted. It was the top right, and there'll be no more flares coming whatsoever. They have stopped. So we'll go back to daytime now. We're back. And we'll come down to the other things. There we go. So we'll do smoke, and you got 2 choices, 10 and 25. Well, why so few or whatever? Well, the reason being is smoke, as with any game, really eats up the processing power, whether it be your CPU and or your GPU. And if you put down too much smoke, especially in Arma, you could crash the game. So I put a limit on it. Of course, you could launch 10, let them all fire off, then launch another 10, continue, so forth if you want to. But be cautious. If you put too much smoke down, it will crash the game. And also be mindful of the wind. If you, for example, if I want smoke between me and the boat there, and the wind's blowing toward me, well, the smoke's gonna blow right over me. So be mindful where you want to go. So let's put some smoke over here. You can see that white building zoom up. We'll put some smoke over there. So we'll fire 10 smoke rounds. Now there is no wind, so it's not going to really make no difference. And I'll click the spot. And if we go back to map, and you see smoke, that's where it's going to be landing at. Now it has the same feature as the other one. I can abort. I can abort all 3 of these at any given time. And this does a random number, and there you go. See, there's the first one coming down, so forth. Now you can see the notification upper right as well as the bottom left, and let you know what's going on. And the pattern is just because they can't fire directly on top. It's not like a rifle with a scope on it, so they do have some deviation from where you want to go. Now it tells you that it's done. Once you see at the bottom left that it's ready for a next mission, whether it be smoke or a mortar or whatever, then and only then can you go select it. So there you go, 20. You see it lasts a pretty little while. The mortar is probably one of the more fun ones to use. We select it, and you got 4 different options. You can have close spread, which is 30 meters from your selected spot. So it could be 30 meters where I'm standing right here. It could hit that Marshall. It could hit the boat. It could hit that, but it won't hit the control tower up there or that tank, water tank, wherever it is. So I have 150 meter, 500, and 1,000. 1,000, just so you know, these squares are 1,000 square meters. So it would hit, for example, if I put right here, it would hit anything up in this area it could hit. The 500 is half these. You can see there's the square right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I had this here in the middle, it could hit 5 out from the center. And same thing with 150. I typically found 300 and 150 to be the most useful. Now if you got a big wall advance an enemy, 500 or 1000 may actually work. So what we're going to do, up here you can see where the control tower is, and that tower I'm going to select 150 up here, and there's the tower, and I think the other one's right here, for example. I think that's where it's at. So I'm going to put my marker right here pretty much in the center. So we'll select 150, and it's going to ask me what I wish to set. Do I wish to do 10, 25, 250 or 500? But one thing up here before I select it, you know, it's currently selected ammo type, HE round or high explosive. Select the change. So I select it. I can select a high explosive, a cluster round, anti-personnel, or anti-tank, which is nice. So I can change ammo that is, on the fly. So we'll say cluster round. We'll go for 150, and we'll just put down 10, and we'll put them in this area right here. And you see fire mission received in the bottom right, 10 seconds. It will 2 rounds in 4 seconds, I should say. They're firing, there they go. Now the cluster rounds really only affect personnel and maybe like cars and armored vehicles. And the fire mission is now complete. Now I can go back and see it says fire mission, but it wasn't completed. Ready for next mission. Now I'll go in and see there they are. So this time we'll select explosive rounds. We'll do 30 and we'll center it. Now when you select this 30, you have more control on the number of how many you want to fire. So we'll say 7. And there's the control tower itself. We'll select it. We fire 7 rounds, I think. Yep, 7 rounds, impact in 4 seconds. And it's going to hit within 30 meters of that, so it's very likely it's going to actually hit the tower. And there it went. Hit right on. There it goes. Anti-tank mines are the same thing on that. If we went in, let's see, I can't do that. It says it's resetting. Now I can select things. The anti-personnel, anti-tank mines are the same thing. Don't worry about, and it's mindful. These two will put mines on the map, and it's just like smoke. You get too many, it can crash it. However, I do have, and it's a hotkey enabled too. You do have the means to remove smoke. Any device such as smoke round, smoke shell, smoke grenade, they'll remove them. Same thing with any type of mine, whether it be anti-personnel, anti-tank, you can remove them for a selected range. So you don't have to worry about actually crashing anything if that should happen. But that's under the artillery. Now, just to show you, I haven't had it happen in a long time, so it may be fixed. I don't know, but it's in there just in case. If for some reason the things are not working for whatever reason, you know, it won't fire or it won't stop firing. I haven't had no problems with it in a long time, but what I did put in there is a safety clause, I guess I'm going to say, is this option here, reset only if it's not working, because this will reset everything in the mortar. So if you got current fire missions, whatever, and it's working, just leave it be. If something acts really funky, you can do it. It will reset the mortar section of the mod. It won't touch nothing else, and it affects all 3 of these two. So this is pretty much it. The ground, I will do the taxi just so you can see what that looks like, and you can see the vehicles. These are the same vehicles you find the CSAT as well as the Resistance as well, no difference. So we'll come down here, and you can call a boat too, which kind of, so we'll select a taxi now. Again, that's a cup, and both those are cup, but here's Arma. And the same thing as the air taxi, you can reset those too. So we'll say call in a passenger truck. We'll have him start here, pick me up there, and take me right there. And here he comes. We'll speed that up. Now he's gonna sit there and wait. I think he sits there forever, waiting on me to get here. Get in. Now, like the other one said, dust off. This one says move out. And so we'll move out. Gave me a scare there for a second. Oh, I see him moving, but you usually see he is. Speed that up too. And he'll do the same thing. The helicopter, he should eject me. And there I go, and he'll go back to doing his thing. And there he goes. So that's it. That's what it does for that. It's, and you can see it cleared all the markers as well too. So we can go back down here. And we're back. Like I said, the three different menus all do the same thing. As a note, if you're a Blue 4 like I am and you call in a CSAT helicopter, it won't let you in because you're not CSAT. You will be locked out of the helicopter. Same thing if you're not on the sides. There's a menu option here too with them. I will tell you, it's called friend to foe. Will tell you who's friendly to who, and you can change it too. But just be in mind, just make sure you select a unit side that's friendly to you to pick you up. And that's all that's under support. It's very detailed. It can, and actually by doing this too, you can create some nice battles. Just to show you how you can create your own battle, real simply, we'll say, let's just do it to infantry. We'll say 40, and we'll pick this as the center. So one, we'll do there, and we'll have them go here. And now we'll go up, pick CSAT, and do the same thing. We'll pick the same number of units. Oops, get down there.
I've got a visual. Man, 700 meters north.
There. 1, 2. Let me see. All right, that's
soldiers, 700 meters, bearing 030.
And we'll have those selected there.
Enemy spotted. Man, 700 meters, bearing 030.
Now you can hear the battle
I see
all the way
movement.
going.
Infantry, 700 meters, bearing 015. We've got an enemy. Infantry, 600 meters northeast.
Now my guys are fighting.
I see movement. Infantry, 600 meters, bearing 030. Hold fire.
So we got 80 men out there fighting.
700 meters,
on
bearing
side,
015.
On these sides, I should say.
Enemy spotted. Rifleman, 600 meters, bearing 030.
And you can hear them just fighting away over here.
Machine gunner, rifleman, 600 meters, bearing 030. Sniper, 600 meters northeast.
Rifleman, 1 click, north.
There was the enemy
Man,
right there.
AT soldier, 600 meters northeast.
But this will, you know, it can allow you to create battles on the fly. And it's pretty cool. And there's another thing that will allow it to actually put them in the building, excuse me, as well. And you see all these guys have been killed over here by the, because they happen to, unfortunately, spawn right in the middle of the Blue 4. But you get the idea of what you can do with this. So we'll go back. Support, and we'll, it says on 2 units, so we'll get rid of them all. Bye-bye. Now they're all gone. But you can kind of get the idea how you can create your own battles on the fly if you wanted to. It's very easy to do. Just pick the area and tell them spawn in, and there they go. But I appreciate your time. I know this is a little bit longer one, but there's a lot to show in this and to do. But I think you will find this probably some of the most fun things to do, because you can actually call in, you get pinned down, you need some air support, you can call them in, and that's pretty cool. Or artillery, you don't need to put no modules down and go through all this crap. Just say, I need mortars, and I need them here, and this is how many I want. Bam, here they come. Same thing with men. If you want a Bradley to come help you out, just call them in. it makes things much more fun and light, realistic, I should say. And you can have some fun with that too. But I appreciate your time. This ends the tutorial of the air ground support menu for the Help Me Mod menu. Thank you for your time.